Bitcoin is at critical support, as you can see, but is it going to be a matter of BYE, buy support, or BUY and buy that support? So that is what we're going to cover on today's show. We do have a whole lot of important topics to discuss. It is mostly going to be TA focused today because not that much has come up fundamentally or within the news. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And first and foremost, I want to direct you towards the voting on the tweet over here. You guys know how it goes. For the festive season, we will be giving away free money. So far, I've given away $2,600. We'll move that along towards the end over there, and at the end we'll tally up the votes and open up the boxes. If you do want to get involved with that, there is a link in the description below. Right at the top, it's pinned there. It will explain to you how to get involved with that. So what I wanted to start off with was this tweet over here from Benjamin Cowan. He says BTC bear markets, the current bear market is the green line, and he's just updated this with the latest findings. So in relation to the previous bear markets, where are we? And you can see time-wise, which lines up with what I've shown you on that long Twitter thread, which is also pinned in my Twitter. Time-wise, we're right around where you expect the bear market to start to come to an end. But price-wise, as you can see, there is still potential for a little bit more downside price action, which would line up with my ultimate targets of that 10 to 12K level. The question is, will we get there or not? And is it long or short for today? So that is what we need to focus on. Heikenaishi candle chart over here on the monthly, if it did get into this zone over here, deep into the green box, then it would match up with the price target, and then you'd want to consolidate, with the price target. And then time wise, we've already made it long enough, but you'd still want to see a bit of a consolidation within that area. Remember that you'll be looking for a little bit of a flat period and then a reaccumulation zone, which would take a couple of months before you initiate a new bear market. So that's what I'm looking at over there. Very quickly on the 4-day chart, we did lose yesterday that key level that I was mentioning to you guys, which brings the price for the high time frame traders, the investors, if you will. It drops that price level below the all-important moving averages over here, which is the yellow and the green. And the longer that it stays around here, the more this will start to look like a long-term lower high, which will eventually lead to the next leg down. Basically, it puts pressure to the downside, and you have declining volume over here. So if volume does kick back in and price goes to the downside, then you know that you do have the expansion phase with the next leg of volatility. The stock market will be one of the main drivers. You can see that this range level that I've drawn yesterday is holding, and you'd also have the 200 moving average, which is on the 4-hour chart. So expecting a bounce off of here still. Let's see how today goes. Possibly that bounce could come over the course of today. Definitely, I think before the end of the week, we should get towards the mid-range over here. What that means is that if, of course, the stock market in the short term is going to bounce, then you have to start to look for potential bounce scenarios within Bitcoin and crypto. So a little bit of upside potential momentum within the market. Let's go into the actual Bitcoin price. On the daily chart over here, you're going to see all daily timeframes are still slightly towards the bearish side, so angled a little bit more to the bearish side than it is to the bullish side, because you do have the Coates moving averages over here, which are coming to the downside, as well as the Fisher distance from the EMA recently just crossed to the downside. So that's one daily time frame. The other daily time frame is the super guppy indicator over here. You can see fully red, price stuck below all of the different moving averages. Daily chart over here with our 12, 24 and the 9 and 34 moving or exponential moving average. At least we have fallen below all of those, and you have one final leg of support. Let's make this bigger for those of you on mobile devices. That is kind of the last line in the sand. But essentially what I'm trying to show you here is that pressure does definitely continue to remain to the downside with price stuck below all those moving averages. So this is your final leg in the sand. I do believe if you start to lose this moving average over here, then there will probably be quite an aggressive sell-off, because all of these different oscillators and momentum indicators will start to react and expand with additional volatility. So that's Bitcoin on the daily, but on the low time frames, there is actually a potential for a long scenario, and we will get to that shortly. I just wanted to touch on the investment portfolio, which is the long-term HODL portfolio for the whole bunch of different coins that have been selected from respective experts within the crypto industry. And I told you there's about 25 of them. I've put them all in here and I'm charting them one at a time. So I've got 2 extra ones for you, which I did drop, by the way, in yesterday's daily candle newsletter. So if you do want the write-up and the access to the actual chart, you'll have to go into the link in the description. You should see something there that will get you access to the daily candle. If you don't receive the email, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is look in your spam, then add that email address that you're receiving it from as a contact in your email list, and you shouldn't have that problem anymore. Then it should come every day into your inbox. Monday to Friday. Okay, let's look at the price level. So Chainlink, just make this a bit bigger. I charted this on the 3-day chart, and the way that I see this is you kind of within a major range. You have the range low, which is the ultimate support, and this would be the absolute worst case scenario. Chainlink all the way down to $1.51. I'm definitely not holding my breath on that, but it is a reality only if this level starts to get lost. Then you have the mid-range and the range high. You can see the way that this has been your primary range over the last while. So a smaller range within the main range. And what I mean by that, I mean this level over here from there to there. So this area is kind of your main or the range that we've held for the longest period of time. And it's very, very easy to see when you have it on a 3-day chart, because you wick into the bottom, into the mid-range area, the mid-range of this big range. As you can see, the mid-range is at $5.45. Then I have the range high, which is your resistance at $9.43. Every time that we spike into that level, it's left behind a wick and price continues to sell off. You come back into this accumulation zone and it goes up. And as long as this level holds, I definitely see this as an opportune area where you can potentially accumulate, which is why I labeled that the potential accumulation zone. Now, you have to consider there are going to be a lot of stop losses which have been placed over here underneath this area, and therefore you can kind of ladder your bids within this zone if you are looking to accumulate Chainlink, of course. So I would basically stagger the orders throughout. You guys know that strategy that I've outlined on BitGet, where you can set a grid. A couple of the exchanges offer it. BitGet was just the first one that I found it on. I think you have it on BYBIT, and OKX is also over there. So you can set a series of grids over here and then decide how much you would want to allocate towards at least your first bids in accumulating Chainlink. Maybe you want to allocate, I don't know, 1%, 2% of your capital, and those bids will get staggered throughout. And I do expect that these wicks will eventually get taken out, at least for one more spike down. It looks like that $4.80 area would be a strong zone for price to bounce off of. The only way that I see this getting lower is if Bitcoin did actually go down to 10 to 12K. Then I think that Chainlink probably does eventually lose this level, and then it breaks into the new range, and then you'll have to be looking a lot lower. What that means for you is that you would definitely want to have a stop loss underneath there. It's unless you're coming in with a dollar cost average plan. Okay, so that's Chainlink. Also a reminder, if you do want to accumulate these tokens onto a cold storage wallet or a MetaMask or offline, then check out Biswap. You can get Chainlink. You can get anything that you want on here. There is a link in the description below. They are the DEX for Binance, essentially. Okay, moving on to the next one is FileCoin, is another one that I've looked at. And you'll find a lot of these coins, what looks interesting on them is they almost seem to have formed a bottom. It's almost like they don't really want to go much lower. But with that being said, you don't want to fade a downtrend. Let's just open this all up. So terrible looking chart in the long term. I think this only launched in this cycle sometime this year. So a very difficult one to chart when it is already at all-time lows. But in the newsletter, I basically wrote this. I kind of see it as forming within a range, right? So you had this range over here. Yes, it spiked out of the range, came back into the range, and now you have a new range. The only way that I can potentially calculate what a new range may look like is I took this main area, which was the range between $5 and $6.71, and I basically copied that exact box down into this zone as the next potential range where you could find a bottom. Now, one of two things could happen. It could either continue in this range and possibly even then break down further into another box over there, or what may happen is if you see price come back up, recapture this level and start to hold the previous range, that would be a sign of reaccumulation, and then maybe the bottom is in for something like FileCoin. Difficult one to chart, but one of the crowd favorites, so I thought I'll give it a go. That's the best that I can do on this one. At the end of the day, it's still in a downtrend, so keep that in mind. I put the full write-up over here in the daily candle newsletter, so feel free to go and have a look at that. Now, potential long scenario here, you can see it. Of course, Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, and it is support. You got wick to wick to wick, and then you do have a horizontal, and I'm sure you can all agree this is quite a sticky area over here. So is this simply an attempt to break out of the major what was resistance and now coming back to retest that as support? Or are we going to lose this level? Well, it's an extremely easy trade to take from an invalidation standpoint, because where would you invalidate? Very, very simply put, if price starts to roll over and it breaks down the supporting trend line, you can see that is your final line in the sand is going to be the bottom of that wick. So zooming in, pretty much that is your invalidation level. Any wicks that even come down below that $16,670 level again, I wouldn't feel comfortable holding this. It might be a case of where you have a liquidity hunt, and this is a real possibility. So you have to decide how you want to enter into this trade, because they could send price down, wick through, grab the liquidity, immediately recapture this, and then off price goes. That's a possibility. But since the daily timeframes, which I just showed you, are all showing more bearish than bullish signs, I would be more comfortable to just have a hard stop over here and get stopped completely out of that position. I have just been entered into the trade. I put this in literally 1 minute before going into the show. So there it is. That is the trade setup. I thought I'll enter pretty much right where we are. I'm not going to wait for a retest of the trend line. It's kind of splitting hairs. It's not going to make much of a difference. Stop loss is down over here. I'm on 5x leverage, risking very, very little. So there is a trade opportunity. Now, one reason why I think it could bounce is this. If you look at the aggregate open interest over here, you can see that it's pretty much fully reset. It came all the way back down to 7 billion. And there's Stephen Conway again with the pre-records. This show is not pre-recorded. Stephen, we're going to have to put you in a timeout soon if you carry on this way. Okay, you can see over here the open interest has reset, so that will give leverage traders the opportunity to rebuild, and I think that they would build it towards the long side, because you can see everything is reset over here as well, with the cumulative volume delta on the stablecoin margin. It's coming straight into that trend line. I tend to think that it will bounce off this trend line, continue on up, and it's been exactly the same play for over a month now. You've got the aggregate spot over here, which has been downtrending the whole time. So you guys know the story. The leverage traders push price up, and then they sell spot into that. So basically taking profit on maybe underwater positions that they were holding on spot. They can sell that down, but price is being artificially elevated using leverage. And I think they'll have another crack at it, especially since the leverage over here the open interest has been reset. So that is what I'm watching over there. 4 hour, this chart is telling you again, risk does remain to the downside with price stuck below all the moving averages, which is why my long trade idea will have the stop loss so close. Now, on an hourly chart, yesterday I did tell you that there would also be a potential for a short opportunity, but you'd want to give this a little bit of time. You can essentially play this market both ways. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm not going to take the short opportunity yet because I do still think that there's a possibility of grabbing all the liquidity up here around the June low and the 18,115 level. So between 17,500 and 18,150, I'm still watching for that area. But in theory, you have a very simple trend line. Again, it's the same one I showed you on the 4-hour chart. I am on the 1-hour chart now. So you have wick to wick to wick connecting over there, and then you have the 1-hour chart which has started to pull back over here, and this would be your high, your lower high, and now any push up and swing failure. So if it can't get back convincingly above the mid range and it comes back down over there, then your stop would be above that lower high, and you'd be looking for a breakdown of this trend line, and then prices would go lower. So that's the way that I see the market. Pretty quick show. I don't really have too much else to add for today. Let's just see how the market unfolds. Let's refresh this quickly. 1 second. Refresh, and then we can choose our box to see who's the winner. All right. What do we have? So we have currently box number 2 at 39.1%. So they are going to be the winners. I need to open. I did not open the thing here. Just give me a second, guys. My mistake. I forgot to open to choose the winners, the document. Okay, let's just grab that and move that across. Okay, let's grab that. All right, in the time being, if you do want to participate in the next one, this is the instructions over here. That's how you do it. You would need a BYBIT account. So there is the link that you can use. Sign up over there, transfer $250 in, and then you'll be added into this Excel spreadsheet, which is basically where we do pick the winners from. So with that being said, let's see. We got box number 1. Box number 1, if you had chosen box number 1, then here you go. You would win $500, which is not too bad. Box number 1, you would have won $500. Box number 3, which you didn't choose, the winner is not box number 3. Also a nice prize. Box number 3, $750 would have been your winnings, but you guys chose. Oh, and I didn't put on my hat. You guys chose box number 2. Box number 2. Let's see what's inside. Oh, box number 2. There is not wisdom in the crowd today. You won $5. Box number 2, you won $5. I mean, they will still transfer it to you. I'm not going to use the auto generator. I will just pick for you because I'm sure that you're probably not too excited with $5. We will choose number 24070789. You are the winner. You are the winner of $5. But we'll play again tomorrow, guys. We'll play again tomorrow. So please make sure that if you are not yet signed up to BYBIT, use the link over there below, transfer $250, and we will run another one. Tomorrow is Friday, and then I'll do 5 next week. I'm going to do 5 shows for next week, and then that will bring us towards the end of that. That is basically the end. That brings us to the end. That's what I see for the markets. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter. Make sure that you're also in the Discord group, because the long setup I did already give, I think, last night in the Discord group. So you would have received that information a long time ago had you been in that group. But either way, thank you guys all for joining. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please do me a massive favor. Give this video a like, hit the bell notification, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And I will see you all on tomorrow's video. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Yes, happy holidays, and cheers for now.